You ever had that Cajun chicken, Jeff?
I don't know that I have. I'm not for sure. I know that I've done his wings. His wings are really good.
How's practice day?
It was good. It was crisp. It was cloudy and nice. Kids flying around, got a big ball game, so they had great energy and really locked in.
You mentioned yesterday that it was just that the offense wasn't very clean. To fix that in practice, what does it take to button that up?
Just execute, be more fundamentally sound. It's not that complicated of a game when you do it right, but it's a very complicated game because there's also 11 guys over there that try to disrupt all that too. So we just got to get better fundamentally.
Is there any extra attention or hype this week because of the magnitude of the game?
It's just natural, I would think. You don't have to say a lot these weeks. You got to coach a little harder the weeks where you're a big favorite. But when you're playing a team that's you've never beaten before, and they're the 3-time champion, and you don't. If you had to hype those games up, you're in trouble.
You've typically given your quarterback a really long leash. I heard you talking about that in regards to Frank on the radio yesterday. Why is that an important thing to do?
That's just such a tough position to play because that's where you get all the criticism. Media always goes to the quarterback and the head coach. So head coach is an adult. He's used to it. These are kids, man. They're 18 to 23-year-old kids. And somewhere along the way, we lost that. We all got jobs to do. I understand it, but this game's about kids. And as long as I'm doing it, we're going to praise in public and criticize in private. So it doesn't matter what y'all ever ask me. I'm never going to say anything bad about my kids. And I'm always going to take the bullet for them. And so it's behind closed doors. We talk about things, we get things fixed, but there are just some things better left to the locker room and just not made for TV and for media. And I feel like protecting my quarterback is one of those things.
What are those conversations like this week with him about kind of getting back on track, and how is he sort of approaching the challenge of righting the ship a little bit?
Yeah, those are the things to stay in private.
In the natural order of life in sports, coach, is that when things are going really well, pressure's added each week. Is that a conversation you need to have or want to have with your kids, or are they good there?
We do discuss it. There's no doubt we do. Even the question that was asked to Spencer a while ago about as it builds, and it's the same question every week. It's why there's only 3 of us left. It's really hard to do. The odds are most don't make it, right? So, but you cannot think that way. You just can't. I've heard people say before, it'd be better off for them to go ahead and lose and get it over with. Okay, we'll try that next year. We'll get that out of the way early. How about that? We'll see how y'all handle that. It's a very fair point, but you just got to do your best to not think that way. It's just got to be a next game mentality. Try to go 1-0 every day and win the day. The worst thing that's going to happen is they're going to beat us, and y'all are going to say a bunch of bad things about us, and we're going to be right back in this locker room with these same 112 players, loving each other, coaching their tails off, and that's the worst thing that's going to happen.
Coach,
Once you get rid of that, and I've said it a million times before, I don't fear losing and I don't fear dying, and I want my players to be a reflection of me. We're not going to play scared. We're not going to get into much of negative talk. We're just not going down that lane. And so that's how we do it. And we do our best to live that. And we're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. We have violation of culture pillars every day in here, including the head coach. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I wanted to ask you, every time you have a violation with us, do you have to go do up downs or take a lap?
Philo has extra work for me in my Jane Fonda 45-minute workout I get. He adds a couple stair steppers or extra jump ropes for me. Push-ups on my knees, old man push-ups.
Hey, Coach, for those of us that are unaware, how and where did Don't Eat the Cheese start?
Just after the Texas State game. When we first got here, it was a dream. We were picked last. Nobody on the all-conference team preseason, and all I heard was we were going to win 0 games to 1 game. So it was a different kind of questioning back in the day. But once we upset Texas State, we just went and bought rat traps for everybody. We put cheese in all the rat traps, and we were hoping somebody would snap their fingers a little bit, but nobody fell for it. Just don't eat the cheese. Well, the kids just absolutely loved it, and they just thought it was the greatest thing in the world. So this year we were picked third in the conference, second in some conferences, which for us, that's pretty high. And had a bunch of kids getting some preseason awards. So that's what the kids kind of wanted to go with, our leadership council. And Stretch did a good job putting on the back of the shirts. And the GAs and analysts do a great job of always putting stuff up in the halls and stuff. And we showed a great boxing match today of a guy that, you know, he ate the cheese and he got knocked out. And those kind of things. Just little silly reminders just to try to make them practice great.
Yesterday you mentioned kind of the emotions of senior day and balancing that. How do you fit that into all else that's on the line this week?
Yeah, I've told my guys we got to be prepared for that. We don't want to empty our gun before we ever get to the game. And that's, you know, got moms out there and pictures and reminiscing, and you know, you just got to be careful. But at the same time, there's always a little bit extra special about that day too, and those kids seem to always even play beyond their capabilities on that day.
Those seniors who are the traditional seniors, not the fifth-year guys, I guess they have that option of whether to come back or not. Are you guys having those discussions already, or is that for after the year?
Yeah, it'll have to be. This is going to be different, right? Last year they let you bring back as many as you wanted to. This year the number's back to 85, so there's going to be some conversations that will be a little different than they were last year.
But that group of fifth-year guys, how do you describe kind of the importance of the program, especially in the role they've played and what
You mean
happened?
the super seniors?
Yeah.
You know, I think Coach Wright did a fantastic job today describing that. You know, anybody that's a college athlete, when you're 18, you're just so immature and silly. And then when you're 19, it's a little better, right? But when you're 22 and you're starting to see you have to really go get a job and have to pay your own bills, all of us were like, man, if we could just have one more year. And all those kids got to live that dream, right? They got one more year, which all of us wanted. And they got to have that. And they have really made the most out of that. And as I was going over it in our staff meeting about each one of those kids, I choked up numerous times because each one of those kids has their own story. And it seems like yesterday I was in here telling them, you know, they didn't choose me. You know, I chose them. I was a high school football coach for the majority of my career. They had just lost their coach. And those guys have totally bought into us since day one. And they will always be, as we look back in time, we'll always remember what this group did to get this program off to a much quicker start than most would have expected.
Can you give us a quick 30-second breakdown of who you see UAB is right now?
Yeah, they're a typical Bill Clark team. They're very physical. They're big. They're a top 25 defense statistically in every category. Offensively, they're going to run the ball at you. Then they're going to boot and play action pass with some great schemes. They're really well coached. And they've won a lot. And they've got really good players. So that's a great combination to have. So I have a lot of respect for them and their program. And it's going to be an absolute, you know, well of a ball game Saturday.
Thanks, Jeff.
We never